my life got immediately better. I was completely isolated and alone, and it was the information that alcoholism, that my drinking wasn't about drinking. Once I learned that my drinking had been about the way I think and my self-obsession, and that there were tools to treat that, I didn't want to drink anymore. So my sobriety is not about willpower or anything. It's just like I just don't want to. And because I do a 12-step program, I have something to treat that way of thinking on a daily basis.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of I Love Being Sober. My name is Tim Westbrook, and I'm the CEO of Camelback Recovery here in the always sunny and always sober Scottsdale, Arizona, where my team and I, over the course of many years, have helped thousands of people on their path to recovery. We started this show because there's so much misinformation about addiction treatment, mental health, and recovery in general. There's so much more to recovery than just going to inpatient treatment, seeing a therapist, and going to 12-step meetings. Those things are important, and AA saved my life. However, to find long-term recovery and live happy, joyous, and free, there's a lot more to it than just stopping the drinking, stopping the drugs, or stopping any addictive behavior for that matter. To live a new life, a person needs new, healthy lifestyle habits. Those are the types of things that we talk about on this show. Amongst other things, we talk about a lot, everything recovery related. And I'm so excited to be here with Anna David. Anna is a person in long-term recovery. She just celebrated 20 years. Mm-hmm. She just celebrated 20 years. And she's a New York Times bestselling author. And she's been published in the New York Times, Time, LA Times, amongst many others. And she's appeared repeatedly on the Today Show, The Talk, the CBS Morning Show, and dozens of other programs. She's been featured at 3 different TEDx events, and her company, Launchpad Publishing, helps people write and publish books. Her newest book, Your Mess Your Memoir, is a combination memoir and business book. So excited to talk with Anna today about her journey through addiction, how she got clean and sober, how she went from the messy life to becoming an author, and what did she do, and how did she get there, and how did she clean it up, and how did she turn her life from being, again, a messy life into a fun, amazing, productive life filled with friends and an amazing business and relationships and so forth. Anna, so good to see you.
Hi, Tim.
So let's dig into it. Tell me what it was like for you growing up.
Oh, growing up. Grew up in Marin County, up northern California. And, to summarize, my dad was like the crazy Eddie of, I don't know where you're from, but he was the crazy Eddie of Northern California. And he sold discount TV and stereos. And he got in a lot of trouble for embezzlement. And when I was 16, which is around when I started drinking, and I do not want to say that is the cause of my alcoholism, but there was trauma around my dad, and I believe that alcoholism, we have a genetic predisposition that's either exacerbated or diminished depending on what happens to us during our formative years. And I didn't realize for a long time that I really had some trauma. And when I look at, when I grew up like my dad, I just go, God, I'm normal. God, I'm a miracle, because there's some really crazy shit that happened. So yeah. So, but I grew up with tons of privilege, and I'm super grateful for that. He ended up losing a lot of money, and so I feel so lucky because I grew up with all these advantages. But I never, my dad stole my trust fund, so I I learned the value of hard work, and everything I have worked for. And I know a lot of Trustafarians that are not like that. So I feel in many ways like I got the best of both.
Okay. So tell me, when you first started, when did you first start drinking? Like how did you enter that realm?
I had a friend when I was in 8th grade. My friend goes, "Let's steal my mom's liquor." And we did that thing where you take vodka and gin from your parents' liquor cabinet and fill it with water. And just like little bits, and
Yeah.
we drank it, and it was not that magical. And it wasn't until high school, freshman year of high school, where I really discovered the magic, and I just loved it. I just loved it. It was so fun. And I think that a lot of people, I was just saying this to somebody yesterday, a lot of people assume that sober people are, we're killjoys and we're cops and we're out to, ruin everyone's drinking. And if it wasn't so fun, I never would have done it to the excess that I did.
Okay. And then when did you realize it was a problem?
Well, drugs are a huge part of my story. And, in the end, it was just a lot of cocaine alone in my house, my apartment here in LA. And I think it's hard to do cocaine a lot by yourself and not know it's a problem. So I knew it was a problem. I would say when I transitioned from doing coke with other people to only doing it alone, I knew it was a problem. I just didn't know that there was a solution I could access.
And how old were you when this happened?
29.
29. So you had been drinking, and so you'd say that the drinking and the drugs kind of progressed?
Yes, it progressed rapidly. Once I graduated from college. I mean, it progressed pretty rapidly in college, but I would say cocaine, as they say, is like the e-ticket into AA or recovery, because it just really gave it a rapid ascension.
Mm-hmm. And then did you write before you got clean and sober? Were you a writer?
I wrote short stories my whole life. I have my first rejection letter from when I was 8.
Uh-huh.
8.
Okay.
I was already submitting articles to like highlights in those kids magazines. And then I majored in creative writing in college, and I worked at Entertainment Weekly magazine and People magazine, and sort of these entertainment magazines. And then I got sober. I mean, I got fired from all those places, and then I got sober.
Did you get fired because of your drinking and drug use?
Well, I would say I've actually been fired from every job I've ever had, and I've been sober 20 years. So I would say that it was never, well, there was one.
Okay.
Ironically, there was one where I got busted, and I didn't get fired from that, because you can't actually fire somebody for having a drug problem, because there are laws against that.
Right.
So I had this crazy situation at this website where I worked, and I dated a guy who worked there, and he got fired. And then he thought it was my fault, and he tried to exact revenge by telling the head of human resources that I was a coke addict. And they handled it very intelligently. What they did is they told me they were hiring me an assistant, and they actually hired someone for me to be their assistant. It was ingenious, so that I quit. It's really smart. Yeah.
Okay.
They went under. But and it was the internet boom, so I had tons of job offers even though I was barely functioning. I was unemployable but employed because I had writing skills, and because there were these websites in 1999 that were just popping up everywhere that needed people with writing skills.
What was writing like as a cocaine addict? What was it like being a writer?
Pretty unproductive.
Like tell me give me the rundown of an episode where you were writing or attempting to write, and what happened.
Yeah, I actually have an essay that's in this anthology about addiction and recovery, and the essay is called The Beep, because I had a computer that would beep if you didn't move for over 60 seconds, and it would just go, do you want to save? And there would just be this beep, and the beep was like just so loud to my cocaine addled brain. And if you do enough coke, you don't move after a while. I'd be sitting on my couch like, I should move, but I can't. Like, what'll happen if I move? Like just craziness. And so I lived in fear of this beep. So I spent 2 years revising the first line of a screenplay that was better before I started. So it just was really unproductive. In the very beginning, the very first night I did cocaine alone, I wrote a spec for a show called Third Rock from the Sun, which I had never seen before, but I didn't let that stop me. And I wrote this spec script and I said, oh my God, I remember hearing the birds chirping, my neighbor going to work. And I remember saying, okay, I'm going to be a huge TV writer. Unfortunately, I will probably have to be a cocaine addict because look how much I could get done. And like, that's okay. And then, of course, nobody cared about this TV spec. I did actually have a pretty good agent at the time, and I had meetings on TV shows and stuff like that, but I never got hired. I was not hireable.
You were not hireable. Okay.
But I actually do have a great story about that. I got called in on this show called Rude Awakenings, and it was this show in the year 1999 about an actress who gets sober and goes to AA. And it was created by this woman named Claudia Lano. And I went in and I met with her, and I remember her saying to me, have you ever been to an AA meeting? Because that was the content of the show. And I had cocaine drip going down the back of my throat. And I was like, excuse me? No, it was a lie. I had been. And then I ended up going to rehab right after that, getting sober. And maybe 6 months into my sobriety, I'm wandering around Rodeo Drive in LA looking for this meeting, and I can't find the entrance. And this woman's like, oh, hey, Anna, it's right in here. And it's Claudia Lotto, who's now a good friend of mine. And she just was so unsurprised to see me. She was just like, oh, hey, she's awesome.
Yeah, that is so awesome. That's so awesome. So what made you decide that you want, so what made you decide that you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I want to get clean and sober. Was there an intervention, or did you just like, what helped you make the decision that you wanted to clean it up?
There was no intervention. I just wanted to die. And I thought that I knew cocaine was a problem. I didn't know drinking was a problem, but I knew cocaine was a problem. I knew that it was killing me and making me incredibly depressed. And I didn't think there was a solution. And I had heard about AA. And like I said, I'd been to meetings, and I thought it's got to be the end of life. But I guess I should try it before killing myself, because what if it's okay? And I went to treatment the following week. I went to outpatient treatment, and then they took us to AA, and I've been in it very happily ever since.
And what would you say is really what helped you stay clean and sober?
What helped? My life got immediately better. I was completely isolated and alone, and it was the information that alcoholism, that my drinking wasn't about drinking. Once I learned that my drinking had been about the way I think and my self-obsession, and that there were tools to treat that, I didn't want to drink anymore. So my sobriety is not about willpower or anything. It's just like, I just don't want to. And because I do a 12-step program, I have something to treat that way of thinking on a daily basis. I do think a lot of it is a sort of spiritual thing, in that, like, I tried over and over again to quit. I tried all the things. I tried keeping my cocaine at my friend's house. I tried going on trips. I tried throwing, the drugs away. I would just dig them out, throw them into the dumpster, dig them out, flush them, call the dealer again. I tried all the things. I go to these weird rooms where people say, we'd like you to do these things that have nothing to do with throwing drugs away, nothing to do with going on trips. In fact, what we'd like you to do, like those rules are on the wall. And we just like you to like kind of like help other people show up in this weird room, maybe sweep the floor, and do these steps. And I did what they suggested, and very quickly my desire to drink and do drugs went away. And since that doesn't make any logical sense, I was like, okay, there is a God, and I pray every morning, and I when I can remember to turn it all over to that power, whatever that is, whether that's power inside of me or outside of me or whatever it is, I can pretty much be happy.
This is a decision. And what I heard you say, it's all about the action.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I certainly take a lot of actions. I go to meetings, I pray, I help other people. And the action is oftentimes internal. It's oftentimes just switching my thinking around. And I have a business where I help entrepreneurs write and publish their books. And I have a lot of people who reach out to me who can't afford our services. And I used to be so resentful because I'm spending all my time basically giving people free book consultations. And then I sort of have a attitude shift where I go, well, I can help. Our business is booming. I can help a whole bunch of people. Why don't I just look at this as a way to be of service? And suddenly they're not a pain. They're really awesome people who wouldn't otherwise be able to sort of have access to this information.
Right. It's a form, it's service work, right? And the reason we do service work is to become fulfilled, because that's what we're seeking, is fulfillment. We're all seeking fulfillment, right?
Yep.
And so you have a business, you obviously have to make money. However, you also have the opportunity to be of service and help people. And so forth. Okay, so your first big hit was Party Girl, right?
It was my first book, and HarperCollins acquired it and released it, and then I did 5 more books with them, 4 more books with them, and then I did one with Simon and Schuster. And publishing was a very frustrating process because I was one of the lucky ones, I was one of the successful ones, and yet I couldn't make enough money to make a living. And so I basically discovered business skills about 5 years ago. Our mutual friend Joe Polish taught me almost everything I know, and I've been able to set up this really successful business where we get to help people who otherwise wouldn't be able to write and publish books.
Which is amazing. And we're going to talk more. We are going to talk more about your book, Make Your Mess Your Memoir, which I can't wait to talk more about. How has being clean and sober, how has that enhanced your life? How has working a program and your behavior today, how has your life been enhanced as a result of that?
I mean, in every way possible. There is not one part of my life that is not affected by it. I, had wanted to write a book since I was 6 years old, and it wasn't until I got sober and I said, well, how can I write a book? Well, I can't, but I could write 3 pages a day. And, I learned one day at a time. So I learned, and then they're on very practical level. In meetings, I learned public speaking. I get paid to go speak publicly. That was, forget Toastmasters. I learned how to do it in 12-step meetings. But I think the more important thing, because it infiltrates everything, are relationships. I didn't know how to have a relationship at all. The skills I learned were very, very dysfunctional. And I feel like through recovery, I was reparented and I was able to learn all the things that I didn't know how to do. And it's taken me a long, long time. I have a brain that thinks in extremes, that thinks like, F this person, I'm going to take off. And I did it for years and years and years. And now I know when my brain is thinking something pretty extreme, it's probably not reliable. And I have people in my life that I run things by and they go, I had this thing the other day. I'm 20 years sober. And one of my best friends said, we're trying to make a plan. And he says, I can fit you in like 3 on Saturday. And I go to my boyfriend, "Oh, can you believe that he said I can fit you in 3 on Saturday?" And my boyfriend says, he loves you. He's trying to make a plan with you. And my brain just twists things. It
Right.
hears insults where they are not happening. And I think that's the greatest part of my recovery, is that I get to understand that my brain just doesn't, it just doesn't interpret things correctly at times, and I need to reassess. I've learned that I'm not responsible for my first thought. My first thought's usually pretty negative, but I am responsible for my second thought and the first action I take as a result of those thoughts, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's being in recovery and being in the 12 steps. Sometimes I'm around people that have not worked a program, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it sometimes I cringe. I go crazy when I see some of the way that some people think. It's like, I've learned how to think. I've learned how to pause when agitated or doubtful. I've learned how to call my sponsor or call other friends in recovery. I've learned how to call somebody other than Tim, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to talk to somebody else besides Tim about what I'm thinking, because what Tim's thinking a lot of times is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so it's taking one day at a time. And the other thing I heard you say is, it's what's the long game? And we learn, it's like, we have goals, we know where we want to go. However, today, right here, right now, tomorrow, it's one day at a time. It's 1 minute at a time. It's 1 hour at a time. And we just need to head in that direction and continue doing the next right thing, again, as they say.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're writing a New York Times best-selling book. You're on the stage of TEDx. You're on the Today Show. You're helping a lot of people with this new book, Make Your Mess Your Memoir, which is amazing. Tell me how did you come up with this new book? Tell me about it.
Well, I used to read strictly memoirs, and I would come away with a lot of knowledge about a person, but not practical information. And then I started reading a lot of business books, and then I would come away with a lot of information, but I wouldn't really be, captured by the story. And so I thought, what if I could combine the two? What if I could tell my story to make people understand why they should listen to the business advice that I'm going to give? And I don't know, one day I remember I was driving to the dentist, and that thought occurred to me, and I sort of wrote it down at a stoplight. And I really go with what is joyful. I don't write books to make money. I don't write books to just have them published. I sort of think, like, does this bring me joy? And it did. And I had a lot of fun writing it. And what was great was I started writing it right when the stay-at-home order started, which was on March 13th. And I felt very powerless, like everybody else, and wanted to do something. And so I declared to my newsletter list and on social media, hey, I'm going to get on Zoom every day at 10 a.m. and write. Anybody who wants to join me can join me. And a bunch of people joined me, and we just did it every day. And then it turned into a membership program. What?
Okay, wait. So you got on Zoom and wrote?
Yeah.
Help me understand. I don't understand that. You got on Zoom and wrote? What, you guys all got on Zoom and you were all writing on your own computers?
It's a membership program that they do it every day now. One of my team members runs it. It's called the Inner Circle, and it's about 40 people. And the reason that they do it is that they need accountability. They need support. A bunch of them have already released their memoirs, because I'll help them know how to then hire an editor and then do a cover and then do a launch and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's a daily accountability group. And so it was free for months. And then I realized that people, when people pay, they pay attention. And so if we started charging a fee, then people would really show up for it. And it's incredible. I mean, people have gone through so many things in the past year, and it's sort of their support group, because they don't have meetings. Some of them do, some of them are sober, but it's anyway, so I had constant access to my readers. I had 40 people every day where I could find out, what did they want to know? What did they want to know about writing memoirs? What didn't they know? And so I was able to infuse the book with actual information that I could gather from my readers.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to have a book that would show people what I could do, what my company could do. And it blew our company up because I ended up getting on Good Morning America, and people, I'm always I'm always correcting the misconception. People say, like, you're New York Times best-selling author, you must make so much money from book sales. No. I probably sold, being on GMA for 5 minutes, I probably sold like a handful of books, but I brought in 6 figures worth of new business from people, because ironically, when you show people how to do something in a book, they want to hire you to do it for them. Right. Some people want to go do it themselves, but other people want to hire you to do it for them. And we brought in some incredible clients as a result, and we've been able to release their books.
That's so awesome. So who is your who are the potential members that you're looking for? Who would be a good candidate to join your membership club?
Well, our membership group only opens twice a year. So that's full right now. We'll open up again in the spring. Mm-hmm. And that's there's an application form at launchpadinnercircle.com, and anybody can fill it out, but you just can't get, we review applications in the spring and the fall. So that's more something I do just to help people. Our clients are all sort of 7-figure entrepreneurs who either want to write we do a lot of recovery books, because those are a lot of the people that come to me, but it's either memoir, business, or self-help. And so those are our clients. So it's 2 completely different groups. One is aspiring writers who are creatives, and then one are just badass entrepreneurs who understand that the best marketing tool they can have is a book. So that's my audience, really. Okay. And I should mention, since I'm on a podcast, I have a really big podcast called Build Your Business with a Book. And every week I answer a question about, everything from, like, how do you know what is a good cover, to how do you write a New York Times bestseller, to how do you make money from, putting an email address in a book. So that's my main thing I do.
Right. And writing a book is a great idea for anybody, for that matter. So Make Your Mess Your Memoir. And obviously you have a lot of people that are in recovery that are going to be attracted to that title.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And some people, can someone just read that book and take and run with it and write their own book?
Absolutely. And publish their own book. But I do recommend, listen to the podcast too. They're 10-minute episodes.
Yes.
And they really are a good adjunct to the book, because absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of people deal with imposter syndrome. I go to my membership group once a month, and I just sort of give a pep talk, and we workshop each other's books. I give feedback on what they're writing. And it's all this, that what I think a lot of people struggle with is, like, who am I to declare myself a writer? And I'm a big fan of declare yourself whatever you want. I am so tired of the gatekeepers having to tell us, oh, yes, you're a writer. Oh, yes, you're an entrepreneur. If you write a book and you release it, you have declared, you've chosen yourself. And anybody can do that. I highly recommend, if you do not have experience writing, getting professional help with it. But go ahead and get started and see what happens. But, use some guidance. I also do provide a structure in the book for a 10-chapter format to follow if you're writing a memoir.
That's great. Okay. So you've got your business, you've got your podcast, and what else do you do? What else do you do in your life, Anna?
What else do I do? Wait, hold on. I accidentally lost the window. Oh my God, so many things. I meditate twice a day. I
For how
love
long?
that. 20 minutes in the morning and 20 in the afternoon. But now I have this kitten who likes to bite my feet and my hands when I'm meditating. So she's cutting it short. I'm a huge sort of exercise fan. I'm now doing this very bizarre, unusual form of exercise. My boyfriend kind of built a gym in the garage, and there's a ballet bar, and it's called GST, and it's a fascia stretching workout of all LA sounding weird things. That's what I do every day.
Uh,
But it gets you in crazy shape, and it gets rid of any physical pain one might have. I love walking to the Hollywood sign here in LA. That's something every day that it's sunny. I do that. I One of the things I picked up pandemic time is bike
so
riding.
now walking to the Hollywood sign, is that like a trail or is that a walk on street? It's a trail.
Yeah, well, I actually you can't walk up to the sign,
Uh-huh.
but you can. This is just this gorgeous trail. There's all sorts of. You can walk on the road. Now I discovered this bike ride
Mhm.
where it goes around the same loop.
Yeah.
And then I picked up painting in the pandemic. And so now my new thing
Wow.
is that I do paintings for people. What I lack in talent, I make up for in cleverness. And so it was my friend's 50th birthday yesterday. I painted her her dog's named Rumi after the poet. So it's like a picture of her dog thinking, why does everyone ask me to recite poetry? And then it's a picture, she's a yoga teacher, a picture of
Yeah.
her doing yoga. So I do a lot of things, but I also work a lot because I love working. Don't you?
You got the, I work a little bit as well. Yes.
Yeah.
I've got the ism for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
that.
And
Yeah.
and you, like me, I mean, what I'm hearing is when we were drinking and doing drugs, there a lot of that consumes a lot of our life. And so my experience and what I've seen is that the only way to really successfully be in long-term recovery is you have to find new things to do, new hobbies, new interests, new friends, new things. Like for you, you meditate in the morning, you meditate in the evening. I meditate, I do breath work, I journal, I work out every day, pretty much every single. I mean, I eat healthy. Like all of I get enough sleep. All of these things. My life is filled with healthy relationships, right? So
Yep.
all of these things that we do, like my life is pretty full, and your life sounds like it's pretty full also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is. It is. And I mean, I think because I'm so work obsessive for a long time, I felt really bad that I didn't have hobbies because I really, I can sit in front of the computer for 8 hours, really 8 hours straight and not even notice. So, but yes, I think life is very full. And I remember when I first got sober, I remember thinking like, oh my God, I can get into all these things. I went and bought rollerblades. I remember the first Halloween, I was like, when I got sober, I said, I'm going to become one of those people who makes her own costumes. Why not? I'm sober now. And I decided to be a candy cane, and I bought white pants and was sewing red fabric on it. And I'm like, look, just because I'm sober does not mean I have to go do everything right now. But I was so excited to be among the living again,
And remembering what you did yesterday.
There's that. Well, when you do cocaine, you unfortunately remember everything. You don't black out. So I had way too. And the thing is, I do think also that is what helps me so much today. I'm so lucky that I remember how dark those coke days were. I do not delude myself into thinking I could go back there and that would be okay. Because I remember wanting to die all the time. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Tell me about tell me about your morning routine.
People love
I know you
to talk about
I know
morning
you
routines.
meditate, but
Well, one of my books was The Miracle Morning, which I wrote with Joe Polish and Hal
I
Elrod.
know. It's a great book.
And I would love to tell you that I do my Miracle Morning every morning, but I don't. I do my own variation of it. I get up when my boyfriend stays over, I get up usually 2 hours before him, which he would not admit, but it's completely true.
Yeah.
I am one of these people who just pops out of bed like the Energizer Bunny. And apparently I've learned from him that that's very unusual. And I get up and I read a newsletter that a friend of mine writes. His name is Jeff Kober. Everybody should go subscribe to his newsletter. And he's a meditation teacher, but he's just one of the best writers. He's in my membership group. He's a member of the Inner Circle.
Okay.
And I read his newsletter and then I meditate. I learned a form of transcendental meditation called Vedic meditation. I do that. I pray. Right now, I pray for the same thing every day. And that is because I had a very powerful experience doing my 6th and 7th step this time. And I pray. I am riddled with the desire to emotionally punish people. It rules my universe. So every day I have to pray, please help me not be punishing today, please. Because it's so subtle and insidious and I don't even know I'm doing it.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
Oh yeah. I installed this plugin on my mail called Mail Butler, and it delays emails 10 seconds when you send them so that when I start to write the passive aggressive thing, I can stop it. It's amazing. But come on, I've never been punishing with you.
No, you haven't. No, you have not with me, but I can see it. I can see it in you. No, I can see it. We've had enough conversations to where I'm like, oh yeah, I can see that.
There. Yeah. And then I have to pray to not be judgmental because I'm extremely judgmental, which goes with punishing. I judge and then I decide to punish. And then I pray not to be jealous because that's one that's been creeping up. Yeah. And so that's what I do. And then I immediately go for the coffee and I go to the computer and then I get my day going.
Tell me about your coffee.
I don't do anything bulletproofy fancy. I just have regular Starbucks or whatever, Dunkin' Donuts coffee, lots of milk, lots of sugar.
Okay. Just standard coffee.
Standard coffee.
Do you do coffee every day?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I feel okay about it. I did increase from 1 cup to 2, but yeah, I'm not one of these people who's like caffeine's ruining my life, sugar's ruining my life, gluten, gut issues. Like I have plenty of physical issues, but it's not that stuff.
Right. You know. Well, 2 cups of coffee. I was going to ask you if you drank coffee alcoholically, but you answered the question. You just went from 1 cup to 2. That's
the
pretty
answer.
Standard. Unless they're like, I mean, are they like 24 ounce? Are they 32 ounce
big.
cups?
They're pretty big. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's not ideal.
There's no problem with it. It is ideal because that's what you do. There's no problem, right?
Exactly. I don't have a problem with it. I do get headaches, and I bet if I quit caffeine and sugar, I would not get headaches.
If you quit caffeine, at least in the short
initial
term,
phase,
definitely
I would
have headaches.
I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like after the withdrawal was over, I probably would not get headaches, and yet, whatever. You know, I'll take my little treats where I can get them. Am I right, Tim? Absolutely.
What you said you don't do? You're not gluten sensitive or anything. Like, what's your diet like?
Could be better. I would love to walk you through what I eat every day. Would you like to hear it? I'll do it quickly.
Yep.
I
Let's hear it.
Okay. This is pretty exciting. In the morning, I have a cauliflower tortilla with 1 egg and some kind of protein. So delicious.
Cauliflower tortilla. Do you make the cauliflower tortilla or do you buy them somewhere?
Great question. I buy them somewhere. And I'm out. I got to go buy them today.
I've never seen cauliflower tortillas. What brand are they? Like where?
I forget what it's called, but you go to Air One, which is this completely overpriced grocery store in Los Angeles. I don't know if it's anywhere else. And I buy them out and I freeze them. And I buy like 60 at a time.
Okay.
Oh, so good. And then I make a fake pancake, which is an egg, 1 scoop of no-fat yogurt, and 1 scoop of wheat germ, oat bran. Whisk it together, grill it. delicious. Then I have a bowl of cereal. I'm a big breakfast person.
Okay.
I have that over a period of a few hours. Like today I've had the egg and and the cereal, but I haven't had the pancake yet. And it's 12:52. So, and then
Have
when
you
I
picked
make
up the waffle maker yet?
I have a waffle maker.
I made a waffle omelet. I made waffle omelets this morning.
You're kidding.
They were amazing. They were amazing.
Did you just make that up today?
No, so we do Waffle Wednesday at our homes. And so we do inspections on Monday or Tuesday, and whoever gets the best score, we go and me and one of my other admin staff members, we go over to the house and we do Waffle Wednesday. And we went up to the Oasis, which is one of our homes in North Scottsdale. And Nina, my program director, she said, "Hey, they want to do waffle omelets." And I was like, "Okay, well, let's check it out." And because you can make waffles out of anything. And sure enough, eggs, and then all of the fixings, and then you just put them in the waffle maker. And so I went up there and I made all the little, just like an omelet station at at a hotel.
Yeah.
I put peppers, jalapenos, ham, tomatoes, I had avocado, I had mushrooms. So I had all this stuff, and so I whisked it all together. 2 eggs. And then all the fixings, and then you just cook it for 2 minutes. And
okay, do you know what you're doing? I just remembered I have avocado and mushroom. I may do this today.
It was amazing. And if you want to put cheese on it after you're done with it, you can do that. And you know what I did though? I actually, in one of the omelets, I put a little bit of the almond flour and oat flour, which is the mixture that I use to make waffles. I put less than a quarter cup of it in with the eggs, and it kind of, it helped a little bit. It helped it kind of fluff up, and it was it's kind of like quiche. So anyway, sorry to rain.
How many listeners did we lose on that one?
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm telling you, the waffles were amazing. Amazing. And so I'll be doing it again. Okay, so go on, continue.
I don't know what I was talking about, but I would say, life is pretty good.
You were telling me you were walking me through your food, and you said breakfast is a really big deal.
And then what I'll do, my boyfriend loves to cook, and so I'll have him cook me all this stuff on the weekends when he's here, and then I get to eat it all week. He'll make spaghetti squash and homemade sauce and meatballs, and I can kind of have that all week. Steak, chicken. We got an air fryer. That's a big thing right now.
Yep.
Air frying chicken, and so that's kind of how I eat. I'm a big fan of kettle corn. And having a little chocolate every day.
Okay, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of coming up on the end of the hour. What do you want? So people walking away from this, what message do you want them to have heard in our talk today?
Well, if you are toying with the idea of getting sober, know that it's nothing like you expect it to be. Whatever these expectations are, they're wrong. Remember that how you feel today is probably not how you're going to feel tomorrow. So if you walk into a meeting or log on to a Zoom meeting and think this sucks, these people are freaks, I'll never come back here, those feelings can change. If you are sober and wondering why you don't have all the things you want, I would say that's happened to me many times, and it's always when I forget that that I'm impatient and that the universe has a much better and longer plan for me than I have for myself. And if you think, why did I have to be an alcoholic? Why did I have to have trauma? Why did I have to go through this? Perhaps it is so that you can help somebody else. And one of the most efficient ways to help other people is to write your story out and share it with them. You can help people globally rather than one-on-one. And you deserve to tell your story. People will always say to me, well, God, there's so many addiction recovery memoirs out there. My story is not that special. And I say, my story is not terribly interesting. And I've made it into 8 books and dozens, if not hundreds of articles. So you've got a story, share it, and keep doing what you're doing. Stay sober. Live the dream.
Live the dream. And it really is living the dream. And I can attest to that. And you can attest to that.
It is. It is. It's a life far bigger than I ever could have imagined.
So how can people find you? So your what was it? Remind me, what was the name of your podcast again?
It's called Build Your Business with a Book. Everything is on Launchpad Pub. But if anybody is thinking, my God, I want to write a book, but I don't want to be broke, they can go to Build Biz, Book Build Biz, BOOK Build BIZ.com and find out, like, how have I been able to build a 7-figure business by writing a book, and go do all the things that we do for our $60,000 clients. That is available. So go. That's probably the best way. I'm also on Instagram at Anna B. David and in all the places. I'm on Clubhouse. That's my new thing.
Yeah, I'm on Clubhouse too. I still haven't figured it out. I get notifications all day long though.
Yeah, I love it. I'm doing a Clubhouse tomorrow. You should come.
What time?
5:00 Pacific. Interviewing Justin Guarani from American Idol about how to have confidence as a writer.
Awesome. I'll check it out. I'll put it in my schedule.
Nice. Well, thanks so much, Tim. Thank you for having me here.
Anna, thank you so much. Really grateful to that you got to spend time with us today. Everybody, thanks so much for listening, and hope you all have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome.